Llega Ahora TV, Ahora News, el mundo más cerca de ti. Ahora Sports, la acción en tu horario. Ahora Racing a máxima velocidad. Ahora Fashion, la belleza y la moda en su último. ¿Qué tal, amigos de Ahora TV en Máxima Velocidad Late Edition? El día de hoy estamos de manteles largos con la leyenda, el piloto y también TV personality James Hinchcliffe. Es un piloto canadiense, ustedes lo conocen, corriendo con el equipo Andretti, corriendo las 500 millas de Indianápolis, y últimamente lo conocen ya como una personalidad dentro de los campeonatos más importantes del mundo, como es la Fórmula Uno e IndyCar. James, welcome to Máxima Velocidad Late Edition. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're the legend, man. You went from racing to now a full TV personality. Before we get into the details of the championships, let me ask you, do you miss it? Do you go and see? I mean, I'll be in your shoes. I see the race car drivers. Once you're a race car driver, you're always a race car driver.
Yeah, you never really lose it, do you? You never lose the desire to be, behind the wheel of a race car. And, I've always said there are things about it that I miss, but there's a lot that I don't. The driving of the race car is the best part, but that's a very small part of the job at the end of the day. So for me, the timing was right to sort of step back. Like I said, I definitely miss it in some ways. I still get to do some racing. I do some sports car racing
Yeah.
in IMSA. So it's nice to still have something to sort of scratch that itch a little bit, but I'm loving this new opportunity.
Yeah, I see. I saw that you still racing, very active on IMSA, which is endurance championship. But open wheel is open wheel. You know what I'm saying? And let me ask you this: I'm pretty sure through your long career as a professional race car driver, you developed some very good friendships. Do you still talk to them, the drivers? Do they come and ask you for an advice, especially in IndyCar? Such a competitive series right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of the guys, in the series are still guys that I raced against, and a lot of them I've got close friendships with. There's a couple of young guys that, are coming in, and you start to see little things that you wish someone had told you maybe when you were at that age. So whether they ask for it or not, sometimes you reach out and give some advice. But no, yeah, I still maintain a really good friendship with a lot of the drivers on the grid.
How different are the cars from your era, which is not too long ago? I still remember a few years ago I saw you with that face cover that you had your beard there. Do you remember
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
raced
yeah.
in the Indy 500? I was telling my wife this morning about it. How different are the cars from your era? I know you race a lot of Dallara chassis. I think that was your favorite one, not Reynard, Dallara. And how different are the cars to this 2025 season? The push to pass button, the hybrid engines. Do you see? Obviously, there's a difference. How difficult are to drive those cars compared to the ones you were driving?
Yeah, so the biggest difference for me is the hybrid system. I mean, that's kind of the only big change that's happened since I stopped at the end of 21. And that certainly has changed some things for the drivers. It's changed the way the car behaves a little bit. And then obviously it's an extra tool for the drivers to use to, try to get an advantage. I love that stuff. I wish I had had an extra toy to play with myself, but so yeah, the cars are pretty similar. I did get the chance to do a couple laps in one of the Indy cars once the hybrid system was in, just so I could sort of feel what it feels like and sort of understand the system. So I know what it's like to drive them, at least at one track, not everywhere. And it has changed things a little bit, but no, for the most part, it's pretty close.
Joseph Newgarden made a comment, I believe, a season ago. I said, anyone can drive a Formula One, but not anyone can drive an IndyCar. How truthful is that? Is that really hard to drive an IndyCar compared to an F1?
I think what's important to I agree with what he said to a certain
Okay.
extent, and in the sense that Formula One cars are so they're so developed, right? They are so high tech. There's so much resource. They're so optimized that when you get into one of those cars, the car is capable, of doing some incredible things and getting to within, pick a percentage, 2% of the ultimate lap time is relatively easy because the car is just so sorted. It does everything so well. That last 2%, unbelievably difficult to extract from the car. The difference with an Indy car is just the nature of the beast, the nature of the formula. It is nowhere near as refined. It
Oh,
requires a very different type of driving style. And I think it is much harder to get to that 2% number. It's equally as hard to find that final 2% in IndyCar as it is in F1. But I think to get even to that 2% threshold, it takes a bit more time. And the car is just it's not as sorted. You have to figure more stuff out on your own. You've got to be able to work with the engineer and know what the car wants. And so it's hard for a rookie, an IndyCar to just kind of jump in and immediately be quick.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you think and I see Alex Palau approach. He said, I don't need Formula One. Pato, I spoke to Pato about a month ago. We had him here on our show, and he said, "Well, my time is come almost end. The door is almost closing. I can stay with IndyCar." Do you really think an IndyCar driver? And I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you have a big commitment with F1. We actually see you every weekend there. But do you think an IndyCar driver needs to go to Formula One, or he can be really a very like the Alex Palau approach, which we really like? I personally told Pato, who's has happened to be now becoming a good friend of mine. I told him, hey, you don't need a Formula One, in case you're happy here. We are cheering for you. Actually, we saw the schedule. I think IndyCar intends to go to Mexico City. How important is that for an IndyCar driver to go to Formula One? Seeing what happened in the past, Michael Andretti, you raced for Andretti, and yeah, how important it is for an IndyCar to move to Formula One? Or you think it's enough to be an IndyCar driver?
I mean, I think it's enough, certainly. I think, especially right now, the series is in a very healthy spot. The involvement from Fox now has kind of helped bring it to another level. Driver salaries are picking back up. In the mid '90s, F1 and IndyCar were considered almost on the same level. You had F1 drivers coming over to IndyCar. You had Senna
Yes, yes,
for
yes.
Penske. You had Mansell fresh off of a world championship coming to IndyCar. So I think we're certainly not at that level. IndyCar has grown quite a bit, F1's grown quite a bit.
Yeah.
IndyCar went through a bit of a bad phase, went through a bit of a lull, but it's really in a good place at the minute. And so, for someone like Palou, do I think he could go over to F1 and be competitive? Absolutely. I think he's one of the best drivers on the planet right now.
Okay.
A guy like Pato, do I think he could go over there and make a lot of noise and be successful? I do. But at the same time, unless you're going into one of the top two teams, you don't have a chance to win on Sunday. And that's not fun for a driver.
No.
So you've got a guy like Palou, you got guys like Pato, like Colton, whoever it is, who've been in these Formula One conversations. Yeah, they could probably go over there and make it happen. But the opportunity to be with one of the top teams, it might come, it might not. Whereas in IndyCar, they're all at top teams. They're all making very good money, and they've got a chance to win every single race. And so, especially in Pato's case, I mean, he is the biggest star in the series. If you go to F1, you're one of 20 guys globally, and they all have their fan bases, right? I mean, he's great. He's no Lewis Hamilton in terms of like pop culture, right? But in IndyCar, he's the guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah, I remember IndyCar. I don't know if you were racing there, but I went to the Gold Coast race.
Mhm.
Adrian Fernandez, Michelle Jourdain, and everything. It was like a Formula One, man.
Oh,
I
it was
was there, the
incredible.
whole town, it's Surfer Paradise. I
Mhm.
went to the Brazilian, not to mention Mexico, Monterrey, not to
Mhm.
mention I was all over. I used to travel with the series. But anyway, let's talk about the Indy 500. You raced there. Just tell us, how does it feel, man? Everything to the left, flat out. Just tell us how important the biggest races in the world. How are you going to do it? You're going to broadcast Indy 500 or Formula One? They have the same race, the same day, two races.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got to pick and choose. And
Are
and
you
look,
going to flip a coin?
yeah, no, there's no flip required. I mean, Indy wins that one 10 times out of 10.
Oh,
That,
okay.
that race is just so special. Like you say, it's the biggest race in the world. It's the largest single day sporting event on Earth. It's one of the oldest races, in existence. The history behind it is incredible, and the challenge of driving at that track at 230, 240 miles an hour is
Ooh.
unlike anything else. It's
Any tricks there? Any tricks on the track?
lots of tricks. I can't share them though. I got to save those just in case I decide to come back one day. but no, it is a remarkable event. It really is something special, and there's literally not any words you can say to truly describe it. I think everybody just needs to go to Indy and really experience it for themselves because it is kind of that unique and that special of a race.
How hard was it for you to retire? To that day that you came, was it overnight? Was it something that you spoke to your wife? Was it something that was cooking for a few months, and decided, you know what, it's time to me to end the season and step away from open wheel?
Yeah, it was definitely over a couple of months. It's a big decision. Those don't just happen overnight. A lot of different factors go into something like that, and that's why I sort of took the time to really try to make sure it was the right thing for me and the right time for me. And I'll be honest, it's if you had asked me 10 years ago, at what age do you think you'll be racing IndyCar to, I would have said longer than 34, which is when I retired. But in the moment, you just kind of know. And I always promised myself I wouldn't be that guy that hung on too long just to like say he was still an IndyCar driver. He couldn't be competitive anymore and whatever. And it wasn't even a factor of feeling like I couldn't be competitive. It was just a combination of things, personal, professional. It really kind of felt like the right time. And I was so fortunate that the opportunity to kind of go straight into the TV world there was kind of waiting for me. And now that's blossomed into this incredible second career in motorsports, on the TV side. So I think the timing was right.
I know your current position right now is a TV personality. Any tips from your wife? I know you're married to an actress, so she's telling you, hey, James, you're doing this, you're doing that wrong.
Yeah, she gives me great feedback. It's very, and she'll be the first to admit she was like, I couldn't do what you do, but I'll be like, I can't do what she does. I mean, the scripted world is one thing, acting is one thing, live TV terrifies her, but for me, it's kind of more natural and more normal. So it's good. We can kind of complement each other, and it's she's a huge support, and she gets the business and has been a huge help for me in this kind of transition to TV.
Okay, now let's talk about the good thing right now, F1 and IndyCar championships, current championships. Let's go with F1. Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri? Which one is your favorite one?
Yes. They're both doing such an incredible job. And the situation that they're in is not an easy one, man. When your main championship rival is your teammate, that's a tough situation. And I think they're both showing the world and proving to themselves and everybody else that they're both very capable of doing this. I mean, that win for Lando in Hungary was very impressive. Oscar's win in Spa was equally as impressive. It's been such a fun back and forth battle between those two, and it's going to be very interesting over the next 10 races how it all
I'm
shakes out.
I'm pretty sure that you walking through the paddock, you get to learn a lot of stuff that we don't get to learn, because, and I know you probably won't share it with us, you'll save it for your F1 broadcast. But anyway, how do you see Lewis? What's going on with Ferrari? You think he's going to come back the rest of the season? Is he going to retire? Your personal point of view, on Ferrari. We see him struggling. They're not there. Leclerc is trying to do whatever he can. He got a podium and everything, but George Russell is right there. Besides what we see in the drama in McLaren, and then we have Verstappen, and Tsunoda doesn't seems to step up. Your point of view on Lewis Hamilton, what's happening with Leclerc, and also with George Russell.
I mean, look, for Lewis, it's such a big change coming from, one team for the last 12 years and going into a completely different organization. It was never going to be easy. I think maybe he is thinking it's ended up being harder than he thought it was going to be and more of a change than he thought it was going to be. But it's year one, and next year is such a reset. Of course, he's going to finish the season. He'll have good
Okay.
days, over the next 10 races. And look, he's going to have some bad days over the next 10 races. I think that the quicker that he kind of accepts that that's how the rest of the season is going to go, the bad days won't feel as bad, and we won't see him as down as he was in Hungary. That was, it was tough to watch. Everybody wants to see him do well. So I think 2026 is a huge opportunity for that team and for him to kind of reset. Charles doing a great job of managing a difficult situation. He's not happy either. That team wants to win races, and they're just not in that position at the moment. The car's very kind of hit and miss and hard to get performance out of. But George, look, Mercedes is having some struggles with the car, but George is just performing so well from behind the wheel. He is really doing a great job maximizing what that car can do, sometimes outperforming what the car probably should do. So for a driver in a contract year, he's having a heck of a year.
You read your point of view in the Red Bull drama and what's going on. I mean, Verstappen. For many years, I used to come out on my radio shows, and I say there's car one and there's car two, and I was highly criticized. Oh no, it's not possible. It's the two cars are the same. Especially when our Hispanic driver was there, Checo Perez, because I said I know Checo personally. I know him since he was 7 years old. That he just didn't forgot to drive how to drive. Something's wrong. Now that we see Sonoda there and Liam Lawson and all this drama in Red Bull, your point of view, what's going on with Red Bull? Do you think they'll be there? Do you think Verstappen will come back strong the rest of the season? It's going to be a tough for 2026.
It's going to be tough for the rest of this year for sure. The car is what it is. Every team has pretty much pivoted all their focus to 26 now, so no cars are really changing. Hungary was a particularly bad type of track for Red Bull, so I think we're going to see some of the tracks coming up where Max can still be competitive. That car is good in high speed circuits, so there's a few of those still on the calendar, but he's going to have some races that are a struggle for sure. 26 again is a big reset. We'll see what they can do. But I think, what's happening with that second car, it's just proving that car isn't very good, that Max is exceptionally good. And, it's an issue that this team has to deal with. They've had a big shakeup, obviously, with management. They've lost a lot of people over the last sort of 12 to 18 months for various reasons. That team's going through a transitional period right now. But it's interesting when you look at all these other drivers coming through, and you talk about Checo. Checo is a driver who was released early from his contract, and it's the only time I can think of in history that a driver was released early from his contract, didn't drive the next year, but his stock actually went up because everybody else that's gotten that car is struggling more than he was. So I think it's kind of put into perspective the difficult situation of being the other car on that team.
I'm pretty sure Michael Andretti pretty good. You race for
Mhm.
him. You race for
Mhm.
him and Mario. Do you think he has a chance to be back in Cadillac? I mean, do you think he has just racing with a new American team? How do you see this future for Checo? I know probably everybody's speculating right now. It's cooking season right now, what we call it.
Right.
Everybody can say, but as all the Hispanics I see him, they're cheering for Checo and everything to come back. I have my doubts. I think Checo already did what he had to do in Formula One, but your point of view.
Look, I agree and disagree. I think he accomplished a lot in Formula One, and I think had the situation at Red Bull been a bit different, he maybe have been happy to kind of walk away. But I think the way that it went down, Checo probably feels like he's got some unfinished business there. I can
Right.
certainly understand that if that's the case, and Cadillac obviously represents a very cool opportunity, huge challenge. It's a lot of work that's going to have to go into that team over the next few years, but. Checo's a massively respected and popular driver, and it would be great to see him back on the grid if it could all happen.
Well, let's jump into another championship that I'm pretty sure you and I love, which is IndyCar. Why is Alex Palou so much ahead in points? What's happening? What is how he's Chip Ganassi? Does he have something that we don't know what's going on? Because I did ask Pato, and I asked him, why is Palou so much ahead? And you're a good driver. He goes, Jesse, the engines, this and that, and all the ingredients. Your point of view, you're there. You talk to him. You've been following. You're actually there every race. What's going on in IndyCar? Why is Palou so much ahead?
It's the $1 million question. I've never seen anything like it in a championship that is got so much parity across the cars and the teams. The fact that he is able to perform at this level, and again, I mean, you said it. You mentioned Chip Ganassi. You've got to give the team a lot of credit as well. I mean, Dixon won one of the races that Pelot didn't, and he hasn't not won that many. So the team though is making great calls. They're giving him great cars, and he is just doing an incredible job with it. So it really is a huge team effort. But that level of dominance in this series in this era, I mean, we've quite literally never seen it. There's no words to explain it.
I have to applaud what IndyCar is doing this year, bringing all these diversity drivers. It's actually making very competitive. Have the Spaniard, the Mexican, some European drivers, some American drivers that are actually I'm cheering for, Colton Herta and everything. Now that has been announced, he's going probably in August 2026. We'll have a race in Mexico. They're also racing Canada. How do you see the series in the next 5 years as a championship? It's very competitive. It's
I,
the thing that I don't know if you agree with me on this, but every weekend I tell my wife, I don't know who's going to win IndyCar. I can pretty much tell you who do I think is going to win Formula One, but in IndyCar, Colton Herta can win this weekend, or Joseph Newgarden, or Pato Ward, or Scott Dixon. You
yeah,
actually don't know.
that's the best selling part about IndyCar racing is you never know, and every driver's got a good chance. This year has been a shocker because Pelot's won 8 races, which
Yeah.
hasn't happened since I think the 70s. It is such a competitive championship, and 9 times out of 10 you don't get that sort of streak from one driver. But even still, even though he's won 8 races this year, I have no idea who's going to win Portland. I have no idea who's going to win Milwaukee. I have no idea who's going to win Nashville. It could be any one of 10, 12, 15 drivers. So we're going to, keep our fingers crossed for a couple of good races to end the season.
And we finish this combination that do. Are you happy with this combination between oval racing and road circuit racing, and street racing, the three different forms of competition? People don't see it that way. Or they don't have the knowledge, but it's a totally different setup. Every single different from an oval race, from a short oval to a much bigger like Indianapolis 400. Are you guys drivers? Are they happy with it? Is the teams happy with the way IndyCar is developing? Fox is coming into the equation now. How do you guys see it?
Yeah, I think honestly, everyone's pretty happy in general. I think it's great to see, new events like Arlington next year come on, and hopefully they make it officially official that Mexico City is going to be a race. I do think it's a decent mix. I would love to see like a proper mile-and-a-half oval come back.
Okay.
We've got the super speedways and the short ovals. We've got a lot of good short ovals. Nashville is technically a super speedway because it's over a mile, but it's not the classic kind of mile-and-a-half ovals that sort of made IndyCar what it is. Obviously the 500 made it what it is, but that was a big part of the DNA of IndyCar. We've got some beautiful road courses, some really cool cities that we race in for the street courses. If we could get 1 mile-and-a-half oval on there, for me, that would kind of really help just round out the schedule.
Let me ask you, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what do you think about these putting a Formula One race, the same day as the Indy 500? It's making it hard even for us, because we watched the Monaco Grand Prix and then later on we watched the Indy 500. That's a tradition. Actually, in my house, mi casa es tu casa, we have a barbecue, carne asada, guacamoles, tacos, and everything. What's your point of view? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, look,
I think it was horrible. Honestly, personally, I said, what's going on with these Liberty Media guys in Las Vegas? Come on, please don't do this to us. Well, they did it.
yeah, I mean, I loved having that day. Monaco in the morning, Indy 500 in the afternoon, the Coke 600 in the evening. It was
Yes,
it
yes,
was Christmas. It was Christmas for motorsports.
yes.
I thought it was the greatest day in racing, and it's a shame that Monaco is now not on the same day for me. I kind of liked it the way it was.
Yeah. Anyway, I let's go into the personal your personal stuff. And anyway, where are you planning to stay with the as a how do you enjoy it being there at the championships as a reporter, as a commentator, analyst? Actually even telling I'm pretty sure you talk to the drivers, this turn you gotta turn before or after. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of that. Anyway, do you enjoy it?
I love it. I honestly, I'm having a blast, and on the IndyCar side, that was my whole life, right? So getting to still be part of that world and that community, that paddock has been great for me, and everybody at Fox that I've been working with, it's been an awesome transition, and they're doing a great job. And then I'm super lucky that I get to kind of moonlight that with the F1 stuff, and
Yeah.
in between IndyCar races, and then once IndyCar's finished, I do the whole end of the F1 calendar, and for me, it's the best of both worlds. I get to kind of be a part of both, and I really enjoying all of
Well, you don't sound British yet to us. No, you still have
it.
you're
even though
Canadian.
even though I do have a British passport.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Anyway, I no more Dancing with the Stars projects in the future.
No, none of those. None of those.
Well, Well, anyway, James, it was a pleasure having you. Anything you want to please say hello to the people in Ahora TV. I don't know how good is your Spanish, but please, Ahora TV. It's not Ahora because I know you guys pronounce the
Right.
H, but we it's silent.
Ahora,
Ahora
TV.
TV. Just say, James Hinchcliffe. Hello, everyone in Ahora TV, and we really thank you for this time, this opportunity to give us an insight. You are becoming a household now for all the Hispanic. We watch an F1 and we watch an IndyCar. And it was very important for us to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Llega Ahora TV, Ahora News, el mundo más cerca de ti. Ahora Sports, la acción en tu horario. Ahora Racing a máxima velocidad. Ahora Fashion, la belleza y la moda en su último.
Okay, here we go.